guys, welcome back to another video of Little Programmers. Today we will be starting off with a new tutorial, which is the JavaScript tutorial. So I have made a HTML tutorial before, and that is just the hypertext markup language or the front-end development of a website. Show up all of the appearances, the text, the images, the videos. We have seen everything. Well, not everything. There are so many advanced stuff as well. So comment down below if you want a advanced tutorial. Anyways, so right now, since we have done the dining table of our restaurant or the dining room of our restaurant, as you have, if you have forgotten, I have taken an analogy like the website to be a restaurant, and the HTML file is the dining table, which is the front end development, and the back end development, which is the kitchen, is programmed using a programming language known as JavaScript. So you might have heard about the word Java before. If you didn't, that's okay, because Java and JavaScript are literally not the same. I'm gonna tell this to you again. Java and JavaScript are not the same. They are two completely different things. Java is an object-oriented program, whereas JavaScript is used in making web pages. Java is used in making applications. So don't get confused between them, and let's just start off. So right now, as you can see, I have a folder with two files, app.js and index.html. Let me go ahead into the index.html and do the basics like the HTML tag, the head, and the title tag. Inside the title, we'll type in JS tutorial. And here we'll add in the body tag, and then we'll add in the h1 with a style attribute. And here we'll add in the size to be 50. And we'll also take the text align to be center. And we'll type in hello world. Hello world. So now I'm gonna run this with live server. Well, live server is just an extension which is used and can be found in the marketplace of the VS Code extensions. So there we go. Now we got a pretty simple, text with the text align. And the size is not changing, but that doesn't matter. You just need the text to be here. So right now we got the basics done. And before we get on with the JavaScript, I need to show you some more elements which are found in your web browser. So if you right click and head over to inspect, then you get this tab. We'll keep that for later, but if we go ahead and right click here and we say here view page source, it opens up another tab with all of the code. It shows up all of your code. So here it says here code injected by live server, and this is the script which is injected by VS Code. And over here, if you go ahead and see, we have something known as the console tab. Now this is the main important thing which is very, very required if you want to debug your apps or your web browsers or your websites. So consoles are usually used for debugging purposes, but they're also used as a beginner basic thing. So for a JavaScript developer to know what is a console and what can be done with it. So let's just go ahead to the JS. By the way, JavaScript is short for JS, and JS is also the extension for a JavaScript file. So if you go ahead in here, and if you go ahead in here and you type console.log, it is a command. And so console.log literally means console.log, which means logging something inside the console. So you're logging something inside the console. Now what is logging? Logging literally means injecting something. So if you see here in the page source, it says here code injected by live server. So it literally means injecting any value into the console of a website. So that is what a console.log is used for. And if I open up brackets and then I do double quotes and then type in here hello world, you might expect this to be working and putting that inside the console log and all. But as you can see here, it's completely empty. But why is that? Well, you have created two files, app.js and index.html. Index.html is opened with live server, and the live server doesn't know that it needs to take the code from the app.js file. So now how do we make it so that it takes the code from the app.js file? Well, pretty simple. Inside the head, after the title, you add something known as a script tag, and inside that you add in an attribute known as src or source, and over here you type in the name of the file, app.js in my case. So now I have saved it, I have reloaded this, and have saved this as well. So let's just, we'll not put that in the head, we'll put that in the body, because that's where usually things are being put, right? So right now we'll close the live server and we'll save everything, and then here it says console.log hello world. And if I go in here and open it with live server, it opens this up, very good. Here I go to inspect, and here I head over to console, and there we go. It says hello world in here, followed by live reload enabled, which is the thing injected by the VS Code or the live server. Wonderful. Right now we have tested it out and we have confirmed that our JS file is linked with the HTML file. So, since we got this done and we know how to log something in the console, let's talk about variables. Now, what is a variable? In math, a square plus b squared is equal to c squared if you see the Pythagoras theorem. Here, a squared, b squared, and c squared, all of them are variables. So here in this case, a, b, and c are variables, and that is a variable. Its value keeps on changing. So it's like if you have something known as a, it can take any value. It can take a 5, it can take a 9, it can take 1,057,999, it can take 2,057,05,000 blah blah blah. It can take any value. But it can also take strings. Now what is a string? A string is just a set, or should I say a group of words. So group of words is a string. So by the way, what does this / mean is it's a comment. So that is also a thing in JavaScript. So sets, you can add in strings, you can add in numbers, you can add in letters, words, and you can also add in Boolean values. Let me explain all of that to you later. But how do we create a variable? Well, it can be done in two ways. You can either use the let or you can use var. Now, let's create a variable, my age, and let's also create a variable, my height. So let's say my age is 13 and my height is 156 centimeters. By the way, that's not my height. I didn't measure it. So yeah, these are just examples. So now these two, both of them are variables. It's just that they're expressed in two different ways. So you can either use let or var. You will find the disadvantages of using let in our coming series, because let is actually used only in a particular function. It's only used in a particular place, whereas var is globally. So it's global, it's available to everything. But let is only available to a certain set of code. So we'll see all of that later. Another thing is you can add in something known as the const. Now const is standing for constant, and I can get the const of the golden ratio, which is equal to 1.618. So we have three ways of adding in values. We have a let, we have a var, and we have a const. Now the constant's value cannot be changed. It's a constant, so it cannot be changed at all. Like, even if you try doing it, so you can just say golden ratio is equal to, I want to change the golden ratio to 1.718. And then if I go ahead and console.log golden ratio, so I'm console.logging the value of golden ratio, it says here, uncaught type error, assignment to constant variable. Constant. The word constant is very important in here. So that's why you can't change any of these. So, since I have started the word with changing, let's go ahead and change some variables. We'll get rid of the const. And let's see whether we can change the age to a certain thing. So we can go ahead and say age or my age. So my age is equal to 14. And then you can go ahead and console.log my age. So the way you console.log the value of, or the way you log values of the variables is just typing the name of the variable without using any double quotes or single quotes. So if I go ahead to say console.log my age, it will say it will say the number 14, because I have changed in here, and JavaScript usually follows the rule of up to down. So it reads this first, then line number 2, then line number 3. So it's like this. Okay, so you're setting a variable called my age to 13, and number 2, nothing is happening, and it moves to number 3 and it says, oh, you have changed the value of my age to 14. And then it goes down and then it says, oh, you're telling me to console the value of my age. And then you go all the way down till you get, oh, now you're telling me to make a new variable known as my height. That's how JavaScript works. It doesn't come from bottom to top. It only comes from top to bottom, and it doesn't come from any middleware. So it doesn't come out of nowhere or something. Another thing you can do is you can go ahead and change my age to my age plus 25. 25. So here it says 38. So what is happening in here is it says my age. So at this point my age is 13. So I'm telling you, set my age to my age, which is 13 plus 25. That is 38, which we get from the console.log. Great. So we have done addition. Can we do subtraction as well? Of course you can. All you gotta do is put in the minus sign and you get your age as minus 12. You put division, you get your age as 0.52. You put multiplication and you get your age as 325. Whoa! How old might that guy be? So that's it. Pretty simple, pretty straightforward. Let's see if this one uses. Nope. Yeah, I just thought it would use powers and exponents, but I guess that didn't work out. So that's how my age works, and other variables, they also work like the same way. So right now let's just go ahead and learn about the other types. So if I don't give this anything and then I just leave it like that, JavaScript will take this as it is just taking it as, oh, you have just made a variable and you have not defined it anything, so this is gonna be an undefined variable. It is on the next line or the other lines where you would define it. So you're gonna say my age is equal to 15. Why don't we try out an experiment? Let's just try console logging before defining it, and let's try console logging after defining it. So we'll copy this and put that after defining it. And now if you go in here, first it says undefined and then it says 15. This proves us that JavaScript always comes from top to bottom. And that's what is happening over here. Undefined 15. Because you're logging the value of the variable before defining it, and after defining it, you're logging the value again. Now that we know how to make variables and also add in a lot of inputs like the number input, the number input and the mathematical operations, it's time for us to add in strings to a variable. Now strings is just a group of words, as I said before, and they're actually easy to be implemented in a variable. So I will just go ahead and say let title is equal to, and then here I'll add in double quotes, and then I'll say JS tutorial. And here I'll say let shout out SHOUT shout out is equal to Lil Techies. Shout out to Lil Techies, by the way. Yeah. So right now I can just go ahead and console.log these. So I'll go ahead and say console.log, and then I'll just go ahead and say title plus shoutout. Now the plus literally means you're just adding the two you're just adding the two strings as a plus right there. So it's gonna say title, which is JS tutorial, and followed by Little Techies, but it has no spacing, so we add in the spacing right here. There we go, much better. So that's it, guys. I'm gonna end this video here. If you like it, smash that like button, and guys, make sure you subscribe to little scratchers, little programmers, and little techies. And I'll put all of their links down in the description. In the next part, we will be looking many more things and how we can implement and use JavaScript in a more interactive manner. So until then, I'll see you guys next time. Peace.